Hey guys, welcome back to the Dr. Ryan Lowery YouTube page. Today we're going to be doing something very important, something that a lot of people have been asking for, and something that I'm actually very interested in, and that is comparing a variety of different ketone meters. You can see them all here in front of me, looking at their reliability. And I'll touch on that really quickly because it's validity and reliability are two separate and distinct things. So validity means that these meters would actually be measuring blood BHB levels, which is difficult to determine unless we were to actually take like venous draws and do comparisons. Reliability, on the other hand, is what most people are interested in, right? If I'm measuring at 8 o'clock today, is it reliable for me to measure at a different time point even though there's been no changes? So for instance, if I'm measuring, which we're gonna do today, 3 in a row, if I'm doing 3 measures in a row, they should be pretty close, especially if it's using the same finger and the same drops of blood to measure those differences. If they're close, that means it's reliable. If they're off, that means it's not reliable. So when we're trying to look and research at change between, hey, if we institute X, or we give MCTs, or we give exogenous ketones, whatever we're doing, and we want to look at a change from 0 to 30 to 60 to 90 minutes, you can't if the measure is not reliable. So here we have a bunch of different units, a bunch of different meters, I guess I didn't realize there were that many meters on the market. It kind of exploded after this whole ketogenic movement kind of got started. But I want to touch beyond just reliability, because I think there's other important factors that kind of go along with these, and I'll post kind of a whole outline. I have laid out here some notes, but I'll post the entire outline of what I think of each of these in regards to everything from meter price to strip price to ease of acquisition, and you'll understand why, ease of use, if it measures ketones and glucose, and any additional notes. And then we'll actually go into the reliability, which will basically, again, be 3 tests that are back to back to back using the same finger, same drop of blood to ultimately determine which one of these is the most reliable. So if you're looking for changes, or when we're doing testing in the lab, which one are we really looking at? So first and foremost, we'll start with what most people consider is like the gold standard, the OG, the Precision Extra. And this is done by Abbott. If you look at it, it's available on Amazon Prime. I believe the price is $30.97 for this on Amazon Prime. Now when it comes to the strip price, things get a little trickier. So these are the strips. They're individually wrapped, which is good and important. If you look on Amazon, you can get lost, and this is one of the downfalls that I had in the additional notes. If you look on Amazon, there's a lot of scammers. There's a lot of resellers that are selling outdated strips that might have expired in 2017, 2018, strips that may no longer be useful. So you need to be very careful. I found strips on there that are available for 99 cents, but when you look through the comments, people say, oh, these were expired. These were 2017, 2018 strips. So it becomes very difficult to determine which ones aren't expired. Now, we'll have to do a separate video. Maybe expired strips don't matter. Maybe the expiration is only a suggestion, not an absolute, and maybe those expired strips are still reliable. I don't know that, and that's not something we're going to be testing today, but that's something we might look at in the future. On eBay, if you order them from eBay and like get them from like Australia, I've seen them for as low as $1.03 per strip. If you order directly from Abbott, you're going to pay $4.99. You're paying out the nose. You're paying $49.99 for 10 strips. So there's a wide discrepancy in the price point from 99 cents all the way up to $4.99, and obviously you don't know what you're getting, if it's expired or not. The ease of acquisition, I put easy with caution, meaning that like you need to be careful with some of these resellers, some of these people who are saying, oh, you can get them for 99 cents, but they're expired. So proceed with caution, so to speak. The ease of use, it's easy. I've used this several times. It's a small amount of blood. It measures both ketones and glucose. One of the things I put in there, because I think it's important as we go through these, are the company values, because that's something that's very important to me. Unknown with Abbott. They're primarily focused on the diabetic community. They had a monopoly on the market really until the Mojo came along, that I know of. So I don't know the company values. I don't know what their intent is. I don't know if their goal is to eventually bring price of strips down, or if they're going to keep it at $4.99 and say you either get it or you don't. It's difficult to say. But nonetheless, we'll start with the Precision Extra. So first and foremost, as we're doing any testing, I think it's important for people to understand how to test. So if you haven't, I'll link below in the description. There's a really good video done by ketogenic.com, and they talk all about the ways to measure blood glucose accurately. Don't, like, running around and playing with your dog and then trying to measure your glucose is going to have a drastic effect of it. Not cleaning your hands. I just washed my hands. Not cleaning the surface can play an impact. There's a bunch of things that go into properly measuring, making sure you've been seated. I've been seated for the last hour to make sure my ketones, my glucose is stabilized, so that way there's no fluctuations. Like if you go walk around and then sit down and try and measure, like it'll be different an hour later just because you've been stabilized. So we're going to start off with the Precision Extra. I'm going to start off, I kept them in their seal so you guys can see these are fresh, straight out. All you do is you peel it open, stick it in, and what I'm going to do for the ease of it is I'm going to peel these others open so that way hopefully I don't have to prick myself twice. I have to prick a lot of fingers today.
Johnny, that really hurt.
I'm going to open these so that way it's easy for me to just take one out, measure it, and then put the third one in so we can look at all three and get an analysis. One of the things, I don't even know if I don't know what my blood levels are. Again, it's not about chasing ketones. I usually am rarely over 1.0. I've been fasting all day today. I had a nice keto meal last night, so I have no idea. The number doesn't faze me, so don't get hung up on the number. Ultimately, what we're looking for here is reliability. So all three of these should come up with a pretty similar number. If it's 0.3, they all should be pretty close to 0.3. One shouldn't be 0.3 and 1.2 or whatever. So we'll see. I'm using this Lancet device, and we'll get started. So we'll see what that comes back with. It takes about 10 seconds. Hopefully I can keep this going. Got enough. 0.7 is the first one. 0.7. Then we will put in the second strip. I'm really curious. I really have no idea what's going to happen here. Come on. So second strip. Hopefully we can keep this going. We got enough. This one takes about 10 seconds. So pretty fast turnaround time. 0.7. That's great. Let's go to the third one. Woo! Got all three in one prick. That's great. We'll see this. This one comes back 0.7. That's strong. It's really reliable. 0.8. So pretty close. So we have 0.7, 0.7, and 0.8. So Abbott, price depending upon the strips that you get. Again, still have to look at expired strips, but these weren't expired. Still have to look at what that would be, but strips can be pretty pricey, but it's pretty dang reliable. So if you can afford the additional price for the strips, seems like a good shot. Again, just be careful of some of those scammers that are out there on Amazon. All right, next we have the Keto Mojo. And this product is very disruptive in a good way. I think one of my notes on these guys were they're positive disruptors, and I'll go into that a little bit more. But the meter itself is slightly bigger than the Abbott. It's a little bit bigger, but it's simple, just one button on it. It's a very simple device. One of the things is this typically goes for $59.99, but that also includes 10 ketone and 10 glucose strips. So you don't really know the price of the exact meter, but if the ketone strips are about 99 cents a piece, you're looking at probably somewhere around $40 roughly for the meter. But the price on Amazon is $59.99. It's available on Prime. It's easy. It's accessible on both Amazon and their website. $59.99, but that also includes, again, 10 ketone strips, 10 glucose strips. The strip prices are 99 cents. And again, those aren't for expired ones. Those are for legit ones. So 99 cents, which significantly reduced. That's why I say they are disruptors. When Abbott first came to on the market at $4.99, to go from $4.99 down to 99 cents to be able to measure is a big deal. And Keto Mojo was really instrumental in that decrease and really bringing to market what I know of, the first one to really have an effective strip price so people aren't paying through the nose to do that. The ease of use, I've used this multiple times. It's a standard blood amount. It's got simple instructions. It measures both ketones and glucose. The company values are honestly stellar. I put a 10 out of 10. They're great people. I've seen them at multiple events. A great mission, and their mission is really to make testing more accessible by more people and allow, ultimately, they're catered to this community. You can tell it's Keto Mojo by the name of it. They're at every event. They really want to truly be a voice of reason and allow people in this ketogenic community to be able to test more versus Abbott, who might not even know about what the heck's going on in the ketogenic community. They're more focused with diabetics. So 10 out of 10 on company values. Additional notes, something that I put in is with their device, there is a recalibration and coding that's needed on every time you open up a new lot of ketone strips. So with each new ketone strip, you need to recalibrate. It's one of the, I guess some can refer to it as potential downsides, is you need to recalibrate every time. But the goal is, if you're recalibrating, does that make it more reliable? And ultimately, I believe that's what their goal is with doing that. The other caveat to these guys are their strips aren't individually wrapped. As you'll see with many of the other ones we'll go over, it's in a container, which means it's more likely to be exposed to the outside elements, which could potentially have some negative effects as far as reliability. But also you're able to fit a lot more inside of here, and if proper precautions are taken, I don't know, it might not be that big of a deal. So here's some ketone test strips. We're gonna go through the same exact protocol, same exact everything that we just did with the Abbott Precision Extra, and we're going to go through, loaded this up, and see what happens with the Mojo. I really hope this one pans out because these guys are great. They're great people, and I love what they're trying to do and really make this more accessible. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay out two more, and I'm going to insert one so that way I don't have to keep going back into the container. I'll lay out two and I'll put one in here. And again, we're looking for reliability. We're looking for hopefully similar results after we do each of these tests. So easy, you just put the strip in, it's good to go. And get rocking. $1.5, a lot higher than the Precision Extra, but again, the goal here isn't to look at validity. We're looking at reliability. So 1.5, now we're going to take the same drop of blood. Really hope this pans out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, that's great. Let's look at the third one. 0.9. I'm gonna do another one. I'm curious. Hopefully I still can get the blood out. I want to do another one. That we got 1.5, 1.5, and 0.9. for my sake, I need to do this. $1.1. Okay, so the first two were pretty close. 1.5, 1.5, then we got 0.9, then we got 1.1. The thing to keep, they're not all over the board. It's not completely off, but definitely not as reliable as the Precision Extra. So we got 1.5, 1.5, 0.9, and then 1.1 when I did a fourth one. Interesting results. Again, I don't think it's like for someone who wants to check to see if they're in ketosis. For sure, it's more. It's a lot more cost effective. The challenge is when it comes to like research and things like that. I don't know if this is something that can be used. Like if you're doing some like intense research, really trying to look at effective change. Because if you measure 1.5 on someone and then immediately the change is 0.9 and it's 0.6% difference, it becomes a little bit more challenging. But nonetheless, I still think it's a great tool. I think it's a great option for people to measure ketosis. I would love to do more testing with that and maybe check it out even further. But as of right now, 1.5, 1.5, 0.9, 1.1. The third one we'll talk about, as I'm changing this out, the third one we'll talk about is the KetoCoach. Brand new on the market, really interesting device. I've also had the chance to meet this individual, the guy who owns the company. Great guy. It's not about, oh, let me just make a buck off of people who are living the ketogenic lifestyle. It's like, no, how do we make this more affordable? And I love that. I love that about the Mojo. I love that about the Coach. And I think both of them are doing great things. With the KetoCoach, you're looking at the device being $49.95 for the device. So again, very in the same ballpark as all of the rest of them. The strip price, 69 cents a strip. And they're individually packaged, which is really interesting. These don't expire until May of 2020. Just got these. The ease of acquisition, it's easy. It's available on Amazon and the website. Easy, standard amount of blood. It's actually a low amount of blood compared to some of the others. Simple instructions on how to get set up, how to utilize. It's got multiple different buttons, so you can kind of go back and check, so you don't just have to rely on one button. It's got an on-off switch. It's great. One of the challenges is it currently only measures ketones. This meter isn't available. They don't have glucose strips, whereas the Xtra and the Mojo can. So if you're interested in ketone and glucose, you have limitations with this one. It can only currently measure ketones. I know he's working on it. I know he's working on the capability to be able to measure with glucose. But currently this device that I have here only does ketones. Company values, again, like I said, 10 out of 10, great company, looking to make testing more affordable for all individuals. Pros, the strips are individually sealed, and there's no calibration needed. It's an auto calibrate, which is very nice in case someone forgets, right? It's not very difficult to take a calibration and stick it in like you have to do on the Mojo and some of these other devices that you'll see. It's not very difficult to do, but it's just something that, like, if you like the ease of it, or if you forget or you don't do it, it can be a challenge for some people, and that might throw off the results. But at the end of the day, it's just a calibration. This is an auto calibrate, which is great. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to load them up. I'll get these bad boys ready to insert. Very easy packaging. Nice packaging. I'll get them ready to insert, so that way they're ready. Very small amount of blood. Not intimidating at all for anyone who's like, I don't love giving blood. Really small amount that you have to give here. So I should be able to knock all three of these out with a fair amount of ease. So, finger number 3. So also I'm doing the highest end. Like you can, this lancet, you can go like as little or high as you want, but like I want it high because I'm trying to like get all 3 of them to fill up using 1 prick. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3 here. All right. 0.8. 0.8 is the first measure. Let's get the second strip in there. Again, I really hope this one pans out as well. Another great company doing great things. Yeah, it's a really small amount of blood. Not anyone that's like trying to do what I'm trying to do. It makes it very easy. 2, 1. 0.9. That's great. Last one. 0.9. Pretty reliable, guys. 0.8, 0.9, 0.9. Seems to be in alignment with the Abbott. And again, we're not looking at validity here, but if people look at the Abbott as being like the gold standard, which who knows? I'm sure they've gone through a lot of rigorous testing, but who knows? If that's the gold standard, this is directly in alignment with it. Abbott was 0.7, 0.7, 0.8. This was 0.8, 0.9, 0.9. So definitely a reliable device. Really hope that he's able to get the glucose strips as well. But so far, that's kind of been the results of all 3. Is the Mojo and Coach are definitely more cost effective. Coach seems to be a little bit more reliable than the Mojo. All right, guys, so now we're going to look at the Fora6 Connect. Again, individually wrapped. I don't know much about the company. They're able to do both ketone and glucose measures. So that's positive. But again, they also have to do the calibration. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how reliable they come out. This is the first time I'm ever utilizing them. So bear with me while I check this out. It looks like it's roughly around the same amount of blood that's needed for the Mojo. So a little bit more than the KetoCoach, about the same amount that's needed for the Mojo. And I have to probably look up what those actual numbers are, but I'm just going by appearance of how much you need inside of the little amount that it does for testing. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to put 1 in. $1.1 is the first measure. A little bit higher. Come on. 1.1. Oh, too fast. Got an error. Good thing I have more. We'll do the second one. It's one of the challenges. I don't love it. Is when you're trying to do repeated, like it shuts off. So I gotta like take it out, put it back in, wait, and luckily I have some more that I can measure. All right, now we're ready for some blood. Their cost per strip is $1.29 plus shipping. The challenge was it wasn't available on Amazon Prime. So that's a challenge. Is if you want them fast or you need them overnight, it wasn't available on Amazon Prime. So strips are actually a little bit more expensive, $1.29 plus shipping. 1.2, so reliable for sure. It's great. Definitely a reliable device, but again, $1.29 plus shipping. So you're probably, depending upon where you're at, how much shipping costs, you factor in, that can add up. That can add up. Now we're on to our last 3. CareTouch, $56.99. That includes 10 ketone strips. Strip price is 99 cents. It's available on Amazon and third-party sites. Does both ketones and glucose. Challenges again, you have to calibrate. So, and it's open, it's not individually wrapped. So you have open test strips that look almost identical to the Keto Mojo ones, which is interesting. It's interesting, they are. That's interesting. It looks very similar too. So it looks like a more expensive version of, or similarly priced version of the Mojo, the CareTouch. They look very similar. The Mojo is a little bit bigger than the CareTouch, but the strips are literally the exact same. I hope you guys can see that. They're the exact same. Weird. I wonder if you can use Mojo strips for the CareTouch or vice versa. We'll see. That's interesting. Obviously, same amount of blood that you need for the Mojo. A little bit more than the Coach. But we'll see. 1.2 is the first measure. It turns off again. I hate that. It turns off. And then you have to wait for it to load before you can load again. Alright, here we go. 0.9. A little off there. Let's see the last one. Come on. We're good. We got enough. .1. So not bad, not great, but not bad, right? 1.2 to 0.9 is about a 0.3 per millimole difference. Not terrible, but also not great. But seems to be slightly better than the Mojo when it comes to reliability, despite them using the same strips. Interesting. Last two. NovaMax. Never used them before either. Meter price is $29.95, so the cheapest meter out there. Strip price $2.18. So strips are obviously a lot more, which ultimately adds up. No calibration needed, but open, not individually wrapped, which is a challenge. Ease, availability on Amazon and their website, which is good. Interesting. Seems like a small amount of blood. It's different in that it's 3 little areas that you add the blood into versus the other ones, which is just like a little tank where you put it in. This one's 3 little. Hopefully it's a little bit less. It doesn't fit very well. Oh, really got to stick it in there. I was clearly doing it wrong. $10 seconds, 10-second reading, a little bit less than the CareTouch and the Mojo, and the Abbott, probably about the same amount as the Coach. 0.4, this one has me at. 0.4, let's go to the next strip. So quick turnaround, quick time on, which is nice. It doesn't, like, even when it turns off, it doesn't take a while to reload or recalibrate back on. It's pretty quick. 0.7, pretty high degree of variation there. 0.4, 0.7. 0.6. So hovering around the same area, 0.4, 0.7, 0.6. But again, 0.3 millimole variation on the same finger, on the same drop of blood. Difficult for reliability for research and testing purposes. So now we come to the last one, and this one was interesting. So a good friend of mine, Ron Penna, has done a ton of testing. This is actually marketed for animals. So it's called the Porta BHB Check. Some challenges with it, for sure. It's $51.45, which is in line with everything else. And it might just be the place that I bought it at. I got it from this place called Animar. I literally have the invoice sitting here because it just came in. And it was literally $15.67 for freight. And I was like, for this? For this, it was $15.67 for freight. But for you guys, it's worth it because I want to test this out. But I was just like blown away that freight was $15.67. But nonetheless, $51.45 for the meter. And I believe that comes with 10 ketone test strips. The ease of acquisition is awful. It's possible if you want to like go through and do something. My mom probably would have a difficult time getting this one because you have to go through a third-party reseller. If you go to Porta BHB, they give you a list of people you can buy it from. I just bought it from the first one, which is Animart, because it's made for animals. But it can still, obviously we're just testing ketone levels. And so it was a little bit more tricky to get. You had to go through a third-party reseller, which is challenging. And again, it's only BHB. This will not, similar to the KetoCoach, this doesn't have an ability to measure glucose that I know of. Might be off on that. You guys might have to check on that. But nonetheless, it was difficult to get. The cost of the strips are $2.30. So other than the legitimate Abbott ones from their website, the most expensive strip at $2.30. They're open in a container, not individually sealed, and they have a calibration / coding with every device. So same drill. Last one on the list. Looks like a really small amount, which is good. I might use this for Scoot later and test him out. I want to start doing that. We're gonna do some testing on some food and some products on him, and this would be the mechanism by which I would do that. Is literally just prick him. So Keto Pet Sanctuary actually has a great overview of like how to measure ketones in your pets. So let's see. Check. We're good. Code's good. 448. Just gives you a drop of blood. So last one. I think I'll go on this one again because he bled well. If it ain't broke, don't break it. Oh no, he might not. Oh, there we go. He'll be enough. 4-second reading, and it's the smallest amount of blood, which is cool. 0.6 on the first one. Oh, it turns off. Let's see how long it takes to put back on. 0.6 on the first one. It's a really, really small amount of blood, which is really convenient. It's literally like nothing. And it's a 4-second reading. It's pretty cool. 0.8. Last one. Last measure. 0.6, 0.8. What do we got? 0.8. So, fairly close. Fairly reliable. 0.6. 0.8. So pretty good reliability on that device. It was just the way to get it was tough. It's reliable. Strips are probably too expensive compared to the other ones. Like you can get pretty good reliability with all the rest of them. It wasn't like that one was stellar in any regard. So I'd be interested in testing it more. It's good though for like pets. I don't know. I've never done ketone testing on Scoot, so like. This might be worthwhile because it's such a little amount of blood. Like, it's so small, the amount of blood that you need. I hope you guys can see that. It's so small, the amount of blood that you need, that it's worthwhile to do something like that. You obviously, I don't want Scoot having to bleed as much as I did. So, all in all, guys, I hope that helped. I hope that provided a little bit of clarification. Again, I'll post all of my notes For everything from the meter price, the strip price, ease of acquisition, ease of use, if it measures ketones and glucose. The company values, really the only three I know of are the Abbott, Keto, and KetoCoach. Don't really know any of the others. Any additional notes, things to just be wary of, like if you are like, hey, I'm Team Abbott, just be careful with resellers on Amazon. They're selling outdated strips, and again, we don't know the if those are valid or reliable. Nonetheless, be cautious with people selling those because they're really just trying to compete with the Mojo, and they're trying to compete with the KetoCoach. So all in all, again, it ultimately depends on your preference, depends on where you're at. The Fora6 Connect I'd probably throw out, not literally, but I wouldn't get it because it's $1.29 plus shipping for strips. The Porta Check I would get rid of unless you're using it for animals, in which case it's great because it's such a small amount of blood. You don't really need much. Everything, the NovaMax, the strip was $2.18. Too much compared to all the rest. The CareTouch and the Mojo, like I said, seem to be very similar. They're both 99 cents. They're pretty dang close in price as well. Interesting. The CareTouch seemed to be a little bit more reliable, 1.2, 0.9, and 1.1, but still a 0.3 millimole difference. Keto Mojo, 1.5, 1.5, 0.9, and 1.1. So you're looking at like a 0.6 and a 0.4 millimole discrepancy. And then you have the Precision Extra that we talked about in KetoCoach, which only currently measures ketones, doesn't measure glucose, which glucose would be a whole nother round of testing. But 0.8, 0.9, 0.9, definitely reliable. So guys, I hope that helped. If you like videos like this, leave comments. Make sure you subscribe to the page because we're going to be doing a lot more videos like this, doing a whole bunch of testing, and hopefully you guys got some value out of it, and hopefully that helps you along your journey, whatever you're trying to do, if you're just trying to measure to see if you're in ketosis, or if you're actually trying to track changes and like look at different impacts of foods or different supplements and things like that, that kind of factors into your equation, and hopefully some of these notes will help you make that decision. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to the Dr. Ryan Lowery YouTube page. As always, make positivity louder. Love each and every one of y'all. We'll talk to you later.